Oh no. Lalabas na ako, may malaki doon. Yung malaking bug.
Andito tayo lahat.
Akit na. Akit na ako.
I'm dead.
Akit na ako. Bakit siya?
What the fuck?
Playing the Spell Brigade with a full group is very chaotic in a good way. Spells are flying everywhere, friendly fire is on, and you're trying to survive while trying not to wipe each other out. It's the kind of game where one run turns into several without really noticing, especially with friends on voice chat. But once you spend more time with it, especially when you get into how progression works and how builds come together, there are a few things that start to shape that experience in ways you might not expect. This game did well in early access, and with version 1.0, it comes with more systems like prestiges, curses, and additional content. I'll go over how it plays, how progression works, and a few things worth knowing before jumping in. At its core, it's a survivor-style game focused on movement. You're constantly repositioning, managing space, and staying alive while your spells do most of the work. Enemies drop mana, which is basically your experience. Fill that bar, you level up, and you get a few upgrades to choose from, some for your current spells and some for your wizard. Runs are structured around objectives that appear as you progress, and if you make it through, you fight a boss at the end. The goal is to get stronger during the run, survive the pressure, and clear the level. With more players, that loop opens up. You're reacting to enemies and to each other. Friendly fire adds awareness, revives create recovery windows, and if you're worried about friendly fire, you can turn it off later after completing a specific quest. Movement also holds up when things get crowded. You can weave through enemies, find space, and reposition, which becomes especially important on higher difficulties where swarms leave very little room to move. Choosing to play solo is doable, but it feels more restrictive early on. The lowest difficulty is where it's manageable at the start. Higher difficulties will need stronger enchantments, better spell access, and some luck with upgrades. If you don't have a group, there is matchmaking. How that feels will depend on coordination, so it's less consistent than playing with friends. There are pings and basic communication tools available though, so even without built-in voice chat, you're not completely relying on guesswork. Runs are built on 3 upgrade layers. Regular level ups are frequent and keep your power moving. Treasure chests also appear during runs, and these give you scrolls which provide more impactful upgrades for your wizard. These can change how you play, like increasing damage at the cost of movement speed or healing when you land critical hits. You can obtain up to 3 scrolls per run. You also get augments from completing objectives. These are some of the stronger upgrades to your spells and can push your build further once you pick them up. It's worth noting that you can fail objectives if you don't complete them within the time limits, so it's important to prioritize when they appear. This is where runs start to take shape depending on what you get. Spells gain elemental infusions at level 7 and 14. If you keep investing in a single spell, those infusions make it stronger and change how it behaves. With detailed descriptions enabled, you can see what each element does. At the start, you will only have access to fire, but as you infuse more spells, you gradually unlock other elements like lightning, acid, ice, and dark. This becomes more important once you start committing to specific spells. Wizards are unlocked with gold, and each one has an associated spell with it. Enchantments are also unlocked using gold. These are permanent upgrades that carry into every run. You can refund them anytime, so you can experiment with different setups depending on how you want to play. There's also a quest system tied into progression. Completing these unlocks things like outfits, additional scrolls, and even spells from other wizards. There's a lot to work toward here, and it gives you a steady stream of goals outside of just finishing runs. With version 1.0, there's more in the mix through additional enemies, a new wizard, and systems like prestiges and curses that extend progression and modify runs. And this is where all those systems start connecting. As you start unlocking more of the game systems and putting more time, you begin to notice how some of the underlying mechanics shape how each run plays out. Gold is used for both characters and enchantments. You earn more by completing objectives, but the return feels limited compared to the cost. Progression also affects how much control you have over builds, especially early on when your options are more limited. Rerolls are not available from the start. They are tied to a tier 4 enchantment, and to unlock the tier, you need to master 5 enchantments. That means picking 5 enchantments and buying them 6 times each. That takes a lot of time and gold investment, and until then, you're working with whatever options you're given. Once you do unlock it, rerolling applies across level up upgrades, scrolls, and augments, so it becomes a key way to shape your runs. Early on though, that kind of control isn't available, which makes managing RNG much more limited if you're trying to build towards something specific. Unlocking more spells also expand the upgrade pool. This adds variety, but it also makes it harder to aim for specific builds, as the more spells you can choose from, the more spells that may appear on spell selections during your runs. Taking all of that into account, there's still a lot to like here, especially in co-op. The core loop is engaging, the movement feels reliable, and the game creates very fun moments, especially with a group. The difficulty adds a welcome challenge, but the RNG can get in the way of how you want runs to develop. Playing with friends doesn't necessarily make things easier either, since the game feels tuned around group play and still demands coordination. With that said, sessions tend to go longer than expected. It's easy to keep playing for hours, especially with a group. Overall, I do recommend this game. It's a fun co-op experience, and if you have people to play with and you love survivors-like games, you can't go wrong with this one. If you'd like to check the game out, the link is in the description. If you played the Spell Brigade, let us know what you think. And if you liked the video, consider leaving a like, subscribing to the channel, and sticking around for more. I'll see you in the next one.